Don't forget guys, SPEC is out now on Amlogic S805 and S905 devices, including the Amlogic S905X, the S905D and the S905W, so check it out now guys, link will be in the description. So we've had a bit of a running theme lately here at the MXQ project where the main focus has been on retro gaming, what with the release of SPEC, and we're going to be reviewing some various different gaming devices as well over the course of the next couple of weeks. Matthew's already kicked that off with his review of the Retro Mini handheld game console, and today we're going to be continuing that theme with a review of the Pandora Box 5S home arcade system. So the Pandora Box 5S is a home arcade system. It's got 999 games built in, most of which are MAME games, that's multi-arcade machine emulator games, some of which appear though to be ports of home console games, so we're going to see things like Sonic and Super Mario Brothers. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, whether they've been ported over to run on this emulator, because I don't recall there being arcade releases for those games. Now the device itself, it seems to be powered by an all-winner processor, but we're going to be doing a teardown of the actual system itself in another video, so stay tuned for that. We also are led to believe that it's running off a small Linux-based distribution, running this arcade emulator as well. Again, we'll cover that in more detail in a future video. Now bear in mind when buying one of these that with it being a budget Chinese device, the chances of the games etc being actually licensed are probably slim to none. So bear in mind that this is probably going to be an unlicensed product and they probably shouldn't be shipping this with games preloaded onto it. But we're going to move straight onto the unboxing now and we're going to have a look what we get inside the packaging and what it all comes with and the usual kind of stuff. So here's the packaging for the Pandora Box itself. Quite large packaging as we can see, but we'll try best we can to get everything shown and make sure everything's showing on camera for you. So if we just open this up, and we'll tip it up a bit so you can see inside. So we get all the cables, instruction manual, stuff like that. And here we have the power brick. This takes a standard kettle cable. And we get the power lead there as well. This will vary depending on your region. Some more cables there. It's a VGA cable. A couple of spare buttons. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And we get the standard Chinese instructional manual here as well. Not going to get too much help from that. And we get a USB to USB cable as well. Not entirely sure what that's for at this point. So now let's get the Pandora Box out itself. Quite a lot of polystyrene and protection. And there we have it. It's a two-player device, so we get the player 1 and player 2 joypads, start and stop buttons, coin input buttons, and then our 6 buttons, which will vary depending on what game we're playing. And then we have all the inputs and outputs on the back, on and off switch. There's a switch to access your settings as well for the device, a couple of USB ports, VGA port, HDMI port, and that is pretty much the extent of this device. It's very, very bulky. Looks like it could be easily sat inside a custom tabletop arcade system, but there we have it. So we're going to power this thing on now and have a look at the games and stuff. So this is the main user interface of the Pandora Box 5S, and it's just basically a list of all these games that we're going to get. So we can just scroll through some of them now and we'll see some classics here like Batman, for example. And these are actually, you know, proper ROM files that have been loaded onto this. They're not these bootleg ones that you get on these kind of cheap NES mini rip-offs. So you are getting proper ROMs and they are the actual games, so there's not any bootleg kind of stuff on there. As we can see, we've got Marvel vs. Capcom as well, and we're going to play some of these in just a little while. But this is the main user interface, just to give you an idea of the sort of games that you can get on here, and there are a lot of them, so you're going to be entertained for quite a long time, I would have thought, with something like this. So we're just going to load up a few games now. We'll kick it off with some Alien Storm, just to give you an idea of the gameplay and how some of these games run. But I don't think we're going to be experiencing too many issues, so we'll come back in a little while after we've showed you some of the gameplay clips. So as you can see, with a lot of these games, you're not going to have any issues with emulating them, and you're going to be able to keep yourself entertained for many, many hours with a device like this. And it can handle pretty much all the games we've tested on it. There were a few issues with certain games, especially with those ports like Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario Bros., which look like they've been ported over from the NES and the Sega Mega Drive. And there were some weird kind of graphical issues going on with those, some frame rate drops, and I'm not sure if that's just how the game's been ported over or whatever. I don't know too much about it. There's also some audio issues there as well, like with the soundtrack and some of the sound effects. They seemed slightly off and not quite right, and it was a bit off-putting, especially if you're familiar with those games from other systems as well, but other than that, they run absolutely fine. We also had some issues with games like Afterburner 2, as you can see here. It just seemed like it was going to struggle to keep up a little bit. Obviously, we can't test every game on this system. There are 999 separate games on here, and we can't obviously test them all one by one for you, but for the most part, everything runs absolutely fine. So for the most part, we're really enjoying playing with the Pandora Box. It's been a very, very nice, fluid experience. The buttons feel really nice, the joystick's responsive, and it really does feel like you're playing an arcade system. The main issue we're having with it is the logistics of the thing, where you're going to position it. At the moment, we're resorting to having it on our laps, but after a while of play, that's going to become quite uncomfortable. The thing is quite heavy, and it's just going to end up giving you sore legs. So we would recommend at the very least having it on a coffee table and playing it from there. But it looks, judging by the design of this thing, like it's meant to maybe be built into a table itself, one of those DIY retro gaming setups that people have. And if you've got the time and money and resources to be able to do that yourself, then it would be a nice little project to maybe build your own tabletop arcade system and actually have this thing built into your table. So overall, the Pandora Box is a really entertaining device. It feels very well made as well, which is great to see. It's got a tempered glass finish over the top as well, so it feels really sleek. It looks really nice. One thing we didn't mention as well is that it also lights up and changes colours. It's kind of got a mood lighting thing going on as well. It's also got an internal speaker, so you can turn that on and off as you want with the volume controls on the back, but you can either have it coming out of the device itself, the audio, or you can have it coming out of whatever device you've got it hooked up to, say your TV. But overall, we're not finished with this device. We've got a few new videos coming along with it. We're going to do a teardown of it, and we've got another couple of ideas that we're going to try out with this thing. But overall, a very, very good device. The buttons are responsive, the joystick's responsive, it's a joy to play. All the games work well for the most part. We've not really had many major issues with any of them, apart from the couple that we've already mentioned. But of course, it's impossible for us to test all 999 games out. But overall, for such a cheap, budget style device, we are blown away by this thing. It is so entertaining and you're going to have so much fun with it. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more retro gaming reviews, tutorials and all that stuff. So hit that subscribe button and keep your notifications turned on to get notifications of our latest videos and all that stuff. Also come over to the website mxqproject.com with loads of Scott Elect tutorials there at the moment and loads of other cool retro gaming stuff, so come and check us out. You can also follow us on Twitter at mxqproject, and the link to the Facebook group will be in the description. So I've been Scott, you have been watching another review by the MXQ Project, and we shall see you really, really soon.